Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you so much for joining me for this brand new interview. I got to have the mic on this time because the last few interviews, the mic was not on. So this time it is on. I'm pretty sure I have it on high volume here. Just to confirm, yes, it is. Today I have a very special guest with me right now. I call this man, well, probably pretty much everybody calls this man the Spider-Man of professional wrestling. Very talented individual. You may have seen him on AEW Dark, whether that's in singles competition or in tag team action alongside with Jersey Muscle, facing off against the Lucha Express. You might have seen him on, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know why I messed up there. Over there doing some great things as well as Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Same thing goes with PrimeTime Live. You can catch this guy anywhere if you search up his name. So without further ado, my ring light dies at that same time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the one and only Danny Limelight Rivera. How are you?
Mi gente, what's going on? Sock Monkey Mike, what's goody, man? I ain't seen you in a few years.
I know, it's crazy to think because, like I mentioned before we went on the air, I've seen this man perform live a couple times over this local promotion called the Empire Wrestling Federation, and the way that he really showcases his professional wrestling skills is truly off the charts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You talked about, in the introduction. First of all, thank you for making me sound like a superstar. You talked about AEW, you talked about New Japan Pro Wrestling, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and PrimeTime Live. And you're right, if you turn on a TV channel that plays wrestling at some point during the week, there's a high probability you're going to see me on your screen. But I would not have been there if it wasn't for all the independent wrestling companies that I was wrestling on throughout the circuit. Really trying to build my brand, make a name for myself, create opportunities like these that I've been having lately. And, somehow, some way, I turned the worst year in history into the year of the Spider. So it feels good, man.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned before, the year of the Spider, I mean, there's so much that Danny Limelight has done, especially within the past 2 years, whether that's, AEW Dark appearances, whether that's PrimeTime Live, which, I feel like in this time, especially with 2020 being the year that it is, it's really felt like the territories back in the old wrestling days of the 70s and early 60s and going time beyond that are really coming back now.
I don't know much about that stuff because I didn't know about independent wrestling until I started wrestling. And fortunately, that when I started wrestling was just getting ready to boom again. And now, before the pandemic, I would say that wrestling was the best it's been in a long time, especially for independent wrestlers. But with everything that's happening now with television, where you're seeing, for example, people like Chris Bay jumping from Impact to New Japan for the Super J Cup, and you're seeing people like myself wrestling on all these major companies, people like TJ Perkins wrestling on all these major companies. It really leaves room for, a lot of amazing things to happen, a lot of matchups to happen. I think that it's kind of special. It's a special time in wrestling considering the circumstances. And I'm just happy to, be a mainstay on shows like New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, PrimeTime Live, and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And now several appearances on Dark with AEW. It feels really, really good, man. It feels good to be, somebody who's been able to break out and really get the attention that I feel like I wasn't having before, and really being able to show everybody who I am and what I can do at a higher level.
Absolutely. And once again, the way that you wrestle is so, to me, it's so unique because it's so fast paced. It's so, you don't know where you're going. It's like you're really showcasing that cruiserweight action, of course. And not only that, but you're really personifying the art of professional wrestling in a way that not just professional wrestling fans could get behind, but also, fans of a younger age, fans that have never watched wrestling. And then they look at one of your matches and then all of a sudden, boom, they're hooked.
Yeah, I think that I really try to be different in the ring. I like to say I'm radioactive and that I have radioactive genes because I was bit by a radioactive spider, or whatever joke you want to make. But I try to be very innovative. I try to, do stuff in the ring that you're not going to see anybody else doing. I try to really incorporate a nice hybrid style of lucha libre, American wrestling, technical wrestling, striking, and then the high flying stuff that everybody likes to see me do. And having a background in parkour and stunts and martial arts and things like that kind of helps me. And it's kind of fun because you're right. Like, people that are wrestling fans, they like to watch me because of the wrestling and the striking and stuff like that. And then the kids and people that are just new to wrestling, they see this inspiration of like a superhero kind of style, and they see, if they like comic books, they automatically correlate me to Spider-Man. And if they just want to see something fun and get their blood going and get the adrenaline pumping, they see all the stuff that I can do when I'm bouncing around, and it's very different, and it kind of like grabs them immediately. And I think that that's something that makes me very unique, and that's something that makes me different.
Absolutely. And you talk about just that energy you get from the crowd. For those who don't know, Danny Limelight Rivera is not just a professional wrestler, but he's also a former U.S. veteran. And Veterans Day was just a few weeks ago, roughly a few days ago. So once again, I do want to say thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
And what was that transition like for you, transitioning from being a veteran to professional wrestling? Was that a hard transition, or what was that like for you?
Well, I started wrestling in 2014, and I didn't leave the Marine Corps until 2019. So like I was doing both. Obviously, the Marine Corps was the priority. That was my job, So the wrestling was something I was striving to really get going, but obviously I had to put the priorities first. But when I made the decision to get out of the military and to be done with it after 10 years, the transition was easy. I was already doing it, and now I felt like I didn't have the Marine Corps kind of slowing me down or technically like holding me back. And I was able to go everywhere I wanted to go, and it's been evident, as you can see this year alone. I've been out of the Marine Corps for 1 year, and everything I've done is 1 year. It's 10 times the stuff that I've done while I was in the Marine Corps, trying to wrestle as well. And so it feels really, really good to be able to do, this full time. Essentially, all I do is wrestle, and then I do the acting and the stunts as well. Just time management. I have so much more time to myself where I can sit down and do these kind of interviews as well, meet more people, do the podcast, the Q&As, things like that, to get to know people and let people who haven't seen me that may be a fan of your show get to see some stuff about me. So I really take the time to do a lot of these podcasts, and I'm very thankful for you guys, because you guys are giving me another platform to show everybody who I am that I don't have. I don't do podcasts.
Yeah, and like I said, the way that you interact with your fans and just kind of making that relation to them is truly something special.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I think that, like, for me, I try to remember where I came from. I try to remember what it was like when, I had 5 fans, or my only fan was my daughter, and I didn't have anybody cheering for me. I didn't have anybody buying my merchandise. I wasn't on TV yet. And so now that I'm really, making these waves and really generating this kind of buzz or whatever you want to say, I still want to make the time for everybody, because without them, I wouldn't be here now. And I know it sounds cliche, but like I'm authentic, I'm genuine as fuck. So if I say I'm gonna make time for people, I make time for them. And even when I do like my little Instagram live, I bring everybody that wants to join the live. I bring everybody on, let them ask whatever, talk super shit, whatever. And I think it's important to maintain that connection with the people that was there for me from the beginning.
Absolutely. You always have to appreciate those day ones. Like I always say, it's always best to support those who always support you rather than just kind of taking it all for yourself.
I agree with you 100%. That's absolutely correct.
Yes. And speaking about Danny Limelight Rivera, I do want to talk about one thing in particular. You did mention about your daughter. You are a father during your professional wrestling career. You have the biggest fan in the world, which is your daughter and your family. The one thing I do want to ask is that how influential has your family, or let me rephrase the question, in fact, how much of an impact has your family had in your professional wrestling career?
Man, I'm going to grab my bag real quick and I'm going to show you something.
Yeah, of course.
So this is my gear bag. This is where I keep like all my stuff. And in here is a pacifier, right? Mm-hmm. So when I made my debut in 2014, my daughter, she was 6 months, and she was playing in my gear bag, and I think her pacifier must have fell into my gear bag or something like that. And I went to go to the show to debut, and I found the pacifier, and it's been in my bag since my very first match over 6 years ago now.
Oh wow!
It's all like ripping and stuff like that. It's so old. And my daughter, she inspires me to be better. She inspires me to be a better human. Obviously, I know that she's watching me, so I gotta make sure that I'm setting that example. I'm raising the bar, because I'm a dreamer. Everything I wanted to do in life, I've done. I wanted to be a Marine Corps drone instructor. I did that. I wanted to be a wrestler. I did that. I wanted to be an actor, be in commercials and movies. I've done that. I wanted to do stunts. I've done that. She sees this as like, if my dad could do it, then I can do it. So if I'm grinding, I'm saying I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here. I want to get here. when she's growing up and she's having all these crazy dreams, like she wants to be an actress. Well, she's already done commercials and movies. You know, like
Awesome.
she wants to wrestle, she can do that. She wants to go be the president of the United States, she can do that. She wants to build a fucking tent on Jupiter or Mars, she can do that because nobody's gonna be able to tell her no, because she's watched me do everything I said I wanted to do by grinding and working hard. Aside from my daughter, you know, obviously my family, they support me, but my dad is really like my biggest, you know, fan next to my daughter. Like he watches all my matches. He was a huge fan growing up of wrestling. He loved, you know, Ultimate Warrior. And so like he watches all my matches, he sends me feedback, things I should do this differently, do that differently, you know, talks about my promos and why he thinks I could have said better. Like he's a fan, you know, and he loves watching me, and he's always telling me, you know, make sure you always give it 100% because you never know who's watching. Like he's super into this shit. So like it's super dope that I have him, you know, watching my back and shit like that, and cheering me on. And matter of fact, when I made my AEW debut, the gear that I wore for my debut, he paid for it. Like he said, I want to make. He was like, I didn't need the money, but he was like, I want to get you a set of gear for you to wear on your next big match. And it just turned out that the gear he made came just in time for my AEW debut. And so I wore that, you know. So it's cool, man. He's been that kind of a you know, a mainstay, like my rock, you know, for what I'm doing, him and my daughter. So, and then my friends, you know, like my roommate, for example, PJ, known him 10 years. We've been in the Marine Corps together. And you know, he when I'm writing and producing films and I'm acting in films, if they're mine that I produced, he does the music for them. You know, and now, you know, when I'm traveling all over the place for wrestling, I have a pit bull that's, you know, about to be 3. He takes care of him while I'm gone, no questions asked, doesn't ask for anything, just like, you're gonna be gone how many days? I'll take care of the dog. Like that's like, you know, he takes care of the apartment, make sure everything's good, make sure my dog's good. Like that's the little things like that I look at and I'm like, I'm gonna remember that. You know, you help because if not, I gotta figure out who's gonna watch my fucking dog when I'm gone. You know, like, and he's also somebody that like, hey, you go to the gym today? And if I'm like, nah, I haven't waited, come on, let's go, get the fuck to the gym. Or have you done this yet? Hey, have you you know, promoted any of your shows? He's on top of me that shit too. It's like that's the type of people that I want on my team, you know?
Absolutely. And it's great to have that support system with you just to motivate you, to push you even farther than what you already are capable of. And it's awesome just to have that kind of support system, whether that's through family, or whether that's through friends.
Mm.
And so what I also love about Danny Limelight is the fact that you have this positive attitude when it comes to, you know, social media, whether that's interacting with fans or whether that's just life in general. Like, is there any inspiration towards that positivity? Because I find positivity so influential.
I'm just a happy person. Like I'm in a really good place in my life. I'm genuinely happy. I'm doing really good. I'm just professionally, everything's going great. I just, you know, like, I feel like I have a platform where I can be an inspiration to others. I feel like, you know, I'm not a household name yet, but like where I'm going, people are watching, people that have been watching for so long, seeing me achieve these, you know, accomplishments or whatever you want to call it. I want to be able to spread positivity. Like, why would they be watching me on their TV? Why would they be following me? And then I'm just being negative about shit. Like, who wants to follow somebody like that? You know, I was born a leader. I felt like I was raised to be a leader. The Marine Corps made me a leader. Like, I've always been a leader. My rank was high. I had a bunch of Marines following me. I was making Marines. I just have always been put in leadership positions. And I feel like right now, I still have the platform to be a leader. And for those that are watching, they can look to me for inspiration or positivity, or, you know, just somebody that's like, oh, I need to catch up, or, oh, I need to pass him, or he's the bar right now. You know, like, that's what I want to do, especially for SoCal wrestling. I don't care what anybody says. When it comes to SoCal wrestling, right now, I'm running it. I'm the face of SoCal wrestling right now. And it's not, I'm not taking any shots at anybody, but if you look at everything I've done this year, there's nobody that's not signed that has done more than me. And I want to be that. Like, I want to carry that flag until I eventually get signed and the next person's like, all right, I'm picking up where Danny left off. And I feel like that's how it should be.
Absolutely. And you talk about being the face of SoCal professional wrestling. I do want to talk about that transition because originally you are from New York, representing that Puerto Rican pride. So what I do want to ask is that transition, because New York to California is a long way across the country. Yeah. And I do want to ask, when you made that big move, that next step in your life, was that a challenge that you were ready for, or was that something you had to adjust over time?
Well, look, man, I'm a street rat from Brooklyn, New York. I was 17 years old. I joined the Marine Corps. They sent my ass to Japan for 2 years. So Japan is way further than California, And from there, I went to all these countries, did my deployments, whatever have you, And then the Marine Corps sent me to California. So I've been living in California since 2012 now. I've been in LA since 2019, and where I'm at right now is, yes, I'm a New Yorker. I'm always gonna represent New York. I mean, it hangs above my bed, like I'm gonna have the Puerto Rican flag because I'm Puerto Rican. But when it comes to wrestling, I'm a SoCal wrestler. Bottom line, SoCal wrestler. And so I think that we have a great lineage of amazing talent that has came from SoCal. Scorpio Sky, the Young Bucks, Jake Atlas, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, all these guys, that are signed. A lot of them are. Thunder Rosa made her debut from SoCal. Like, if you think of, Heather Monroe, everybody that's like doing something right now, Brody King, it's all from SoCal, and so I'm just proud, to be part of that, that legacy,
Absolutely. And of course, Danny Limelight will be in that conversation as well, being signed to a major company. But speaking about that, before we get into everything else, I do have a hot take for you that I guess the people want to know as well. You've been a part of these big organizations as of late because, again, it has been the year of the spider for you. You've been a part of New Japan. You've been a part of AEW. You know what I mean? So out of all the major companies that right now, can we confirm that you could sign potentially to AEW, to New Japan in the future?
I think there's like some bad service coming right now. I can't hear you. I'm just happy for any opportunity that comes my way. I don't close any doors. I didn't really hear your question because the connection was kind of bad. But what I think is that, like, when the time comes for me to sign to a major company, it's going to be what's best for me, and it's going to be to a place where I feel like I can be an asset to that company, and I can add value to that company. So when that bridge comes, we'll cross it then. But until now, I'm a free agent, the hottest free agent, and I'm just gonna leave it as that.
That's a great answer. So I do want to talk about the shirt you're wearing, actually. It's going to be PrimeTime Live, which you guys could catch every single Tuesday on pay-per-view on Fight TV. Make sure you guys go check that out, which is actually
PrimeTime Live. Did you see me punch Clark Connors in the face with the brass nuts?
I didn't see anything. I
want it to be known because you know why? Because we're the bodega and we win ugly. Mm-hmm. And that's part of that Puerto Rican judo. You don't know if I got a knife. You don't know if I got a gun. You don't know who I'm with. You don't know what I got. So Clark Connors, man, he's a big dude. He hits hard. He's one of my favorite opponents ever. He beat me in the Lions Break Crown tournament in New Japan. He beat me in the rematch on PrimeTime Live. And now we had a third match, and there was no way I was going to lose 3 times, Mike. No way. And with the King Fat Boy Papo Esco in my corner, come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, speaking, like I mentioned before, about PrimeTime Live, there is, you have been a part of that Southern California TV scene as well, whether that's, PrimeTime Live, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. When you got those opportunities to really be on camera in the Southern California scene, what was that opportunity like for you? Was it something that you were excited about, or was it something that was long overdue?
Man, look, I tell you what. Last week, about 2 weeks now, almost about 2 weeks, I hit my 5 years as part of United Wrestling Network, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, more specifically. 5 years, half a decade I've been with this company right here. That's what I always represent, right? David Marquez gets all the credit for my career. Obviously, I put the work in. Obviously, I busted my ass. Like, there was no doubt about that. But he took me when I was 9 to 10 months in the business, was kicked out of my school, told I was never going to wrestle again. And he saw some potential in me to bring this young Puerto Rican cat to his TV channel. And I basically learned how to wrestle by wrestling on TV. I was not ready. But, if the Marine Corps prepared me for anything, it's to adapt and overcome and find a solution, find a way. And so I was thrown into TV and I just learned how to wrestle on TV. And I think that since I've been doing it for 5 years now, it shows when you watch me on New Japan now. It shows when you watch me on AEW. I've been bred to the system of TV wrestling because of David Marquez. And being somebody that has been a mainstay on the United Wrestling Network, man, I say it again, I'm the face of United Wrestling Network right now. Can anybody say differently? I may not have the Hollywood Heritage Championship, but when you think United Wrestling Network right now, you think Danny Limelight. You think of PrimeTime Live, you think of Danny PrimeTime or Limelight Live, whatever you want to call it. We should just change the name right now because I'm there every week almost. I've been in 5 out of 8 episodes. I have me and Dirty Dickinson are tied for the most appearances right now on that show. And I'm just grateful and honored to be part of it. And I'm thankful that they trust me enough to give me that moment, that spotlight, put me in the limelight, if you want to say. And I'm able to deliver every time. Every night I'm delivering solid matches, great matches, consistently for the United Wrestling Network. And I don't want to be, sound braggadocious or anything like that, but I'm fucking that good. And that's why I'm on this company. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm given this opportunity that I'm given.
Absolutely. And you're speaking about the solid matches that you provide not only for the United Wrestling Network, but also for a company known as All Elite Wrestling. Now, I do want to talk about the first time that you appeared on All Elite Wrestling. That was in a 6-man tag team match alongside with Jersey Muscle taking on the Jurassic Express. What was your reaction when you got the email, when you got the call saying that you were going to go to Florida and to really showcase your skills that you've been showing on the Southern California scene, even if it was in six-man tag team action?
Oh man, I'm not even gonna cap, man. That was the ice, the cherry on top of the cake for the year for me. When I got the call from New Japan, I want to take a second to shout out Rocky Romero. That to me was oh shit, New Japan hit me up. I'm making my debut against TJ fucking Perkins. I was wild. I was my year can't get any bigger. You know what I'm saying? The worst year of the year, I was making my debut for New Japan, and I was there's no way my year's gonna get any bigger than this, but this is awesome, and I'm gonna take this opportunity and run with it. And then when the AEW thing happened, I was this has happened, And then getting into the ring, it was my first time meeting Jersey Muscle, but getting into the ring with that explosive team of Jurassic Express, shout outs to Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt. They're the most innovative guys as a trios team that I've seen in a very long time. And I thought the match was dope. I had a lot of fun. I felt even though it was a 6-man tag, it felt like the Limelight show. I was able to showcase everything that I could do. Obviously I didn't get the win, because Jurassic Express, they're just a solid unit. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco, they're that good. And me and Jersey Muscle, we didn't have that kind of chemistry that them boys had. But I felt like it was fun. I felt like it was good. I felt like I got to showcase, like you said, what SoCal already knows. I got to showcase to the world, who Danny Limelight is. And then coming back the next week after that and teaming with Casey Navarro against Jurassic Express again, there's another little bit of, this is who Danny is. This is who Limelight is, And now that I'm coming back again, what I'm saying? Just more and more opportunities to show that I belong. What I'm saying? Maybe we'll see Danny Limelight, is All Elite sooner or later. You never know.
Oh, we're getting the exclusive right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Well, Danny, I do want to thank you so much for taking your time and talking to me. Before we go, though, I do want to talk about one more thing. You have mentioned in interviews before how much you value your Mexican heritage, your Puerto Rican heritage. And so I do want to, take a moment and ask you, because you did mention about one of the interviews I had before. I'm not too sure who it was with, but you were talking about with Hispanic Heritage Month. Yeah. And, representing that Latino pride in your wrestling, in your own unique style with your story, your background. How important is it for you? Because, of course, you're representing the Puerto Rican wrestling scene, whether that's from LAX, who does that a lot. Yeah. How important is that for you to represent your culture and represent who you are as a person?
So I'm not Mexican. I'm Puerto Rican. But my daughter is half Puerto Rican, half Mexican. Her mom is Mexican. Right? I think it's so important because you said LAX. The only other Puerto Ricans that I can think about that are on TV doing the thing, Lindsay Dorado's Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? Tasha Steeles, she's half Puerto Rican on Impact. I can't think of it. Obviously Eddie Kingston's half Puerto Rican, half Irish. I can't think of any other Puerto Ricans. I really can't. Back in the day, you had the Colones, you had Savio Vega, but other than that, there's not many Puerto Ricans that are doing it. Mainstream, you think Jennifer Lopez, Mark Anthony. Anybody else?
Not at the moment.
So to me, me, and I'm sure Papo Esco feels the same. I'm sure, Slice Boogie, who's half Puerto Rican, feels the same. They're trying to build their name, build their brand, and represent Puerto Rico. But for me, right now, I feel like it's my moment to really show the world what Puerto Rico and New York is about, and follow in the footsteps of like LAX. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing it for so long. I'm just now getting an opportunity and a platform to showcase that as well. My daughter sees that, like us Latinos, like we need to represent, we need to stand together, we need to, pull each other up, because we all we got. You know what I'm saying? And in a country where there's so much divided, stuff happening right now, it's very important to me to be somebody that's trying to bring it together for my people. You know what I'm saying? For my gente. Mi gente, as I like to say. I mean that shit. When I say mi gente, it comes from the heart, because y'all my people. Puerto Ricans, the Latinos, they're my people. One of my favorites growing up was Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was putting on. He won the WWE championship, and he had the Mexican flag high in the air. I can't remember the last time there's been a Puerto Rican champ. I don't think there was ever a Puerto Rican world champ.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to bring Puerto Rico into the limelight. Not trying to play off my name. But really show the world what we're about and who we are. Because I think we have a dope culture. I think we have amazing food, beautiful women, handsome men, whatever have you. And we have energy that a lot of cultures don't have. And I think it'll be cool to really get us out there on a bigger level.
Absolutely. Well, once again, Danny, I do want to thank you. For those who don't know, you can check out Danny on television every single time. You can check it out, whether that's on, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, PrimeTime Live, AEW Dark on YouTube. You can search up Danny Limelight Rivera on YouTube. You will pop up a bunch of stuff on there. But once again, Danny, I do want to thank you so much. Follow him on all social medias. Yeah. And yes,
Mike, thank you so much for bringing me on the show. Like you were saying, they can find me anywhere: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Danny Limelight. ProWrestlingTees.com/Danny Limelight on Pro Wrestling Tees. So use that code to save yourself some money. And for all my people, man, if you guys got podcasts, you guys just want to talk, hit me up. Let's chat. Let's do something. Mike, it was a pleasure once again. Let's do this again soon. Maybe when the new year brings in, we could try to set up another appointment to run it back. And hopefully by the time the new year comes around, I have more good things to talk about.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, until we meet again, I will see you guys in the next interview.